in a quiet little town surrounded by rolling hills and peaceful mornings. There lived a man named James, the kind of man whose smile seemed to light up the grocery store whenever he walked in. Everyone knew him. He was 48, full of energy, always helping neighbors fix their fences or jumpstart their cars. But behind that warm smile, James carried a life that ran faster than he did. Long office hours, quick meals, late nights, forgotten breakfasts, sweet snacks during stress. His body had been whispering warnings for years. But, like most of us, he didn't hear the whispers until they turned into shouts. The story begins one evening when James sat on his couch, exhausted after work. He noticed something strange. His throat was so dry, it felt like he hadn't had water for days. He drank a glass, then another, then another. Yet the thirst didn't end. He kept going to the bathroom again and again, so often that even his dog looked confused. His vision seemed blurry, and his hands trembled slightly as he held his phone. "Maybe I'm just tired," he told himself. But deep down, something felt wrong, something he could no longer ignore. Days passed, and the symptoms grew worse. Constant thirst, constant urination, a strange heaviness in his legs, a tiredness that felt like his bones were made of sand. One morning, while pouring coffee, James felt lightheaded. The world spun for a moment. He caught himself, shaking off the dizziness. That was the push he needed. He finally decided to see a doctor. The doctor listened, nodded, and asked James to take a simple fasting blood test. The next day, when the results came in, James stared at the report. His blood sugar level was sky high, so high that it could no longer be ignored. "James," the doctor said gently, "you've likely known this stranger for a long time without realizing it. You have diabetes." The word hit James harder than he expected. Diabetes, a word he had heard before. A word he had laughed about with friends. "Oh, I eat too many sweets. I'll get diabetes someday. Haha." But now it wasn't a joke. It was real, was personal. The doctor explained the origins of the word. Diabetes came from Greek, meaning to siphon, because ancient doctors noticed how patients urinated excessively. Later, mellitus, meaning sweet like honey, was added after they discovered that the urine of diabetic patients attracted ants due to sugar. But modern diabetes wasn't just about sweet urine. It was a whole world of science, lifestyle, genetics, and environment. The doctor continued, there are different types. Type 1, where the body doesn't produce insulin at all. Type 2, which is the most common, where the body produces insulin but doesn't use it properly. And gestational diabetes that affects some women during pregnancy. James listened carefully, his heart thumping. "Why me?" he whispered. The doctor sighed. "It's not just about sugar, James. It's about everything's genes, age, weight, stress, job habits, diet, sleep, physical activity, even economic and social factors. Diabetes doesn't choose like a judge. It arrives quietly in the shadows created by our lifestyles." As the doctor spoke, James began to reflect. His job required 10 hours of sitting every day. He ate fast food more often than he cared to admit. He drank sugary sodas to stay awake during late-night deadlines. Walking, exercise, even stretching, they had all slowly disappeared from his life. And stress, it was his constant companion. The doctor explained the symptoms he had been experiencing. The constant thirst happened because the body tried to flush out excess sugar. Frequent urination was the body's attempt to get rid of glucose it couldn't use. Blurry vision came from swelling of the eye lens. Tiredness came because the body's cells were starving for energy even though sugar was flooding the blood. And if left untreated, the consequences could be severe heart disease, kidney failure, nerve damage, blindness, slow wound healing, and even amputations. James felt fear rising in his chest. But then, the doctor placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "The good news is, diabetes is not a death sentence. It's a wake-up call, and you can control it. You can live long, healthy, and strong if you take the right steps. Those words became the turning point in James's life. His treatment began with metformin, a medicine that helps the body use insulin more effectively. The doctor explained that some people need tablets, some need insulin injections, and some use newer medicines that protect the kidneys and heart at the same time. In rare situations, people get pancreas or islet cell transplants, medical miracles that help the body produce insulin again. But James learned something powerful. The real treatment begins long before a pill enters your mouth. Begins with your mindset. And so James started a journey he never expected. The very next morning, he put on his old walking shoes, the ones gathering dust in the corner, and stepped outside. At first, he walked slowly, breathing heavily after just a few minutes, but he kept going. From 10 minutes to 15, then 20. Within 2 weeks, 30 minutes of daily walking became a non-negotiable ritual. His legs strengthened. His breath returned. His mood lifted. He realized that walking wasn't just exercise, was freedom. James began changing his diet. He swapped sugary drinks for water and lemon, replaced white bread with whole wheat, chose brown rice instead of white, filled half his plate with vegetables, ate nuts, beans, fruits in moderation, and lean proteins. He discovered the magic of fiber. It keeps sugar steady, the stomach full, and the body happy. He learned about the power of post-meal walks. Simple 10-minute walk after eating could lower blood sugar as effectively as some medicines. He learned to check his sugar regularly, observing how different foods and emotions affected his numbers. James discovered that diabetes is a whole-body experience. Stress raises sugar. Lack of sleep raises sugar. Anger raises sugar. Even loneliness affects the body. So he worked on mental peace, 2 breathing exercises, quiet evenings, laughter, and connecting more with friends and family. Slowly, his numbers started improving. But the most beautiful part of the story was how his family became part of the journey. His wife started cooking healthier meals. His kids joined him for evening walks. Even his neighbors got inspired. If James can do it, so can we, they said. Soon, the whole neighborhood changed. The streets, once empty at 6 a.m., now buzzed with walkers. James also learned some surprising facts. Diabetes wasn't limited to any race, religion, or culture. It affected Muslims, Christians, Hindus, atheists, everyone. It affected the poor who struggled to buy healthy food. It affected the rich who indulged in comfort and overeating. It affected people in cities with sitting jobs and village farmers with genetic risks. It was universal, but so was the power to fight it. One day, while at a family gathering, someone asked James, "Is diabetes curable?" He smiled softly. "Maybe not fully cured," he said, "but definitely controllable." Diabetes listens to your lifestyle more than your doctor. Your habits are your medicine. You write your own story. His story began to inspire others. People turned to him for advice: what to eat, how much to walk, when to test sugar. James never bragged or complained. He simply said, "Start small." Small steps save lives. One evening, while taking his usual walk, James realized something. His battle with diabetes had taught him more than any book ever could. It taught him resilience. It taught him patience. It taught him responsibility for his own body. It taught him that health is not something you find, something you build. Months passed, his energy returned. His smile grew brighter, his tests improved. His doctor was pleased. But more importantly, James was proud, not because diabetes left him, it didn't, but because he learned how to manage it instead of letting it manage him. He realized diabetes is like a shadow, always there, always watching. But shadows can't hurt you if you walk towards the light. And so, the story ends with a message for every listener, every viewer, every person who might be sitting with silent symptoms or silent fears. Diabetes doesn't arrive in one day. It grows slowly in our habits, our lifestyle, our routine, our stress, our diets, but it also doesn't have to ruin your life. Every step you take, every healthy meal, every sip of water, every decision to walk instead of sit, every refusal of junk food, every night of good sleep is a battle won. Whether you're young or old, male or female, rich or poor, whether you work in an office or on a farm, whether you're from Asia, Europe, America, Africa, or anywhere else, diabetes can touch your life, but you decide whether it controls your life or becomes just a chapter in your story. And like James, you too can stand strong and say, "I'm not fighting diabetes. I'm mastering it."